Hello, and welcome to Calming the Chaos, where we present tips, tools, and techniques to help you find peace in a chaotic world. I'm your host, Tracy Canella, licensed mental health counselor at Lokahi Counseling. This channel and the Calming the Chaos podcast is for those who want self-help and education. It's not a substitute for counseling or psychotherapy. So if you like the information, please subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. Thanks so much for listening. And now, let the chaos begin. Hello, it's so good to be with all of you today. I am looking out my window and it does look like spring out there. So I want to wish everybody a happy spring. It's really cool to hear all of the spring birds chirping and the sun is shining, and hopefully it does not make me look like a ghost before this whole thing is over with, because the sun has a tendency to wash out my face in this environment. So I am just so happy to be here today. In fact, it was an interesting sort of journey. I do live shows every couple of weeks, and I was thinking of not doing one this coming up Monday because I really hadn't any idea about what I was going to do. And then somehow I came across this idea from Women's History Month. And I thought, maybe I could kind of roll with that. So I Googled it, and everything else sort of just fell into place because I had realized that I had made a film that I had never released that you guys are going to see today in a couple of 3 parts. And it was about living your dreams. And in fact, it was a dream of mine to be able to do what I'm describing in this video, and I've never done it. And that was 2 years ago. And so I was really inspired to be able to show it and talk about some of the things that we do to move toward our dreams, some of the obstacles and some of the chaos that perhaps gets in the way of our dreams. And then I have my very good friend and fellow podcasting person and therapist colleague, Lisa Mustard, here with me because she and I have talked about these things so many times when we've talked together, and it's always so fun to have her around. So I see her waiting in the wings. If you're ready to come up, Lisa, just give me a nod and I can see, or a thumbs up, and we'll bring Lisa on. So Lisa, welcome to Calming the Chaos.
Thank you for having me, Tracy. This is just the neatest thing ever. I've never done one of these before, so I am just so excited to be here and to hopefully add some value for your listeners, your YouTube I don't know, what do you call the folks? Because I usually do podcast or I go Facebook Live or Instagram Live. So this is like so different, but I'm excited to be here. Really excited.
Yeah, and you're just rolling with it. And I knew you would, because in fact, you were the one who, when I first started doing podcasting, you were the one who encouraged me, go live. People want to see more of Tracy. And I thought, why?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. I encourage lots of people to do that.
That's it. So in YouTube land, their subscribers or their listeners, people who pop in, and the YouTube robots will recommend a certain sort of a listening experience for them. So people will come in and they'll check out, and sometimes they'll chat. Cool. So if you look, I don't know if you have YouTube open up, we have one person at least, that's Lizzie.
Hi,
this
Lizzie.
is Lizzie Heidi Ho Taylor. Oops, cool. Why can't I get that right? There you go. Hi, Lizzie. Good to see
there
you.
She is. Okay, kind of see her. I'm going to see if I can pull it up. So I don't want to do that thing where, you get that echo. So I'll put my phone on. Let me see. Okay, this is cool. It's working out well. Nice.
I knew you'd be able to figure it out. It's really super user friendly and all that other stuff. So, yeah. So I try not to get too ADD about this, but there's so many controls. It's like I'm at the sort of the helm of an airplane operating everything, and I'm in control of who comes on the stream and who is off the stream. And I can always shut down the chat if it gets nasty, which it
Right.
never has
Oh,
been.
that's good. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we're here today to talk about some of the things that we have gone through in order to be where we're at. And I don't even know if you have a dream that you have to share, but I definitely have one. And that's what I'm going to share with the films. But yeah, if you want to tell our listeners a bit about yourself, I've given you a bit of an introduction, but tell people where you're at and where you live and what you do and how you help people.
Sure. So my name is Lisa Mustard. Like it says, scrolling below. That's really neat how you can do that. I love that. And I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I live in South Carolina. I've been working for the past 10 years primarily for military population. So that's what I do during the day. And then I also have a podcast called The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard. And that was my big idea I had a few years ago, like just this dream I had to create and start a podcast for our peers, for licensed mental health clinicians who just wanted to get more information about what else is going out there in the field of mental health, what other therapists are doing, as well as professional development, pivoting your skill set and doing new things as a therapist. And on top of that, my end all big dream is to provide continuing education contact hours through the podcast. So some of my episodes are approved for continuing education contact hours. And that has been my big dream for the past year, to get that up and running and start putting pod courses out there and giving contact hours and just going for it. So that's what I do. And I'm also a mom. I have two daughters. We have two daughters, 12 and 10. And I'm married to a great guy named Billy. And we have a dog. We have a puppy named Lulu, who is crazy.
I didn't know. You must have just gotten the puppy since I last talked to you.
Well, no, actually she's 2, but I joke around and I still call her a puppy because she is just so full of energy. She's half pit bull and half Australian shepherd. And there is no off button on that dog. Like, she always is just, I think we're in this for life with her. She just is one of those dogs that's just full of it, and we love her, and she's like our third child.
Yeah, I imagine your household just being this hub of energy, because I know you're very physically active and you've got 2 young girls. And then now I'm just hearing about the dog and just all kinds of projects that you do. And the pod courses, I love that idea, because people who normally would listen to podcasts anyway will be able to get continuing education credits from it. So it's a win-win, in my opinion. And I was able to get my first free pod. The first one is free or was free. I don't remember if she's frozen up. She'll be back though. So I did get a free pod course, and the pod course being about eating disorders. And so it was free, and I got a free continuing education credit. You go ahead and take her off of the screen and see if we can get her back. And she starts moving around, and maybe what we'll do is we will have her. Well, I don't like these options. My options are ban from the studio, kick from the studio, edit mic settings, or edit name. So let's just kick from the studio, and she'll come back. If you want to prevent this person from rejoining, you should ban them instead. Well, I don't want to ban her. There we go. Okay. So she will be back, I'm sure, because she is good at figuring these things out. And so, yeah, I got my first free pod course from Lisa. And so if you want to check that out, if you're interested in just listening to her podcast, she's got a podcast called The Therapy Show, and that's by Lisa Mustard. You can get all information about her on her website at lisamustard.com. And if you're a therapist out there that wants a free CEU by listening to a podcast, then that's the place to go. So, Yeah, so here we are, and we're going to be talking about our lives and how we got to where we're at. And it's no small feat that we got to where we're at, because as therapists, we have had to go through a lot of schooling, and then also postgraduate hours that we were able to achieve, supervision, and then what? And here's Lisa. I'm going to bring her back up to the stream. We lost you, but you're back. Let's see if
Sorry about
she,
that.
let's see.
I don't know what happened.
No, yeah, you're back on your phone. It looks like, how versatile is that?
Yes, I'm going to try to bring my computer back up. It just crashed for some reason. So as we're going through it, if I can get my computer back up, I'll join that way. So, but I'm sorry
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
great.
Sorry, Tracy.
Oh, no worries at all. See, this is exactly what happens both in my therapy sessions and in my life, actually, is that these obstacles come up, and we just learn to roll with them. And again, this is like your first lesson to where of the day, that is, because it's not my first rodeo, not my first lesson. But then these things happen, and then what do? You improvise,
Right.
like you did. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. So here you are. So you have this phrase that I love, and it's called share your good stuff. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about how you developed that, and what you're speaking when you say that to people?
Gosh, I don't really know where that came from. Uh, I guess when I think about maybe where that came from is I'm a big believer in therapy, strength focused, very much so. What are your strengths? How can we amplify your strengths? Yeah, we've all got weaknesses. We've all got growing edges. But let's not harp too much on them if they're not getting in the way of everyday life. Let's look to what are your strengths and how can you use your strengths to problem solve or to take the next step or to fail forward, because we're going to fail a lot of times as we go after our dreams and our goals. And failure it's not a character fault. It doesn't define who you are. It's just a step along the way. So I feel like whatever you have going on that you're putting energy into and you're testing things out, it's good stuff, because not everybody is going to have the guts or the courage to put their stuff out there. So, whatever your good stuff is, it could be a new podcast episode. It could be a PDF that you just created. It could be, oh my gosh, I'm launching into a new career. It doesn't really have to be, I don't have a definition for what that is. So I guess anything can really be good stuff. It's just how do you perceive your stuff, really, So strength focused is kind of how I like to look at things.
Right. Yes. And I think what I like about that is that the stuff that we have is good in some sort of possible way. Somebody out there could be thinking about starting their own YouTube channel and starting to upload videos or learning how to edit videos, whatever it is. People do have their own unique talents, strengths, and gifts. And I've been struggling to be able to figure out, well, one, how do I fit into helping people to realize these things and come to who they are? And two, like, well, is that something that I need to be doing, or do I need to be doing something else? So sort of just giving everything a try and seeing what sticks is right. Part of what my journey has been about, because there's been a lot of obstacles for me in my life, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I want to know a little bit more about your story and how you got to be where you're at today, Lisa.
Oh gosh, Tracy, wow. We could talk forever about my story. And I guess I'll just try to pinpoint the highlights. I'm 47, and in my early 20s, well, my mid to late 20s is when I discovered therapy and the process of therapy. And I was pretty unhappy in my life. At that point in time, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't have like this career that had been a calling since I was a kid. I never really knew what I wanted to do. I liked the idea of helping people, but I didn't quite know what direction to go in. So I started out in health education and promotion. I did that for a little bit and helping people with getting healthy. I was a personal trainer for a little bit. And then as I was doing those things, I realized that to really help people kind of work through the underlying issues that were keeping them stuck, for in reaching their health goals, I wanted to go deeper and learn how to go deeper with people. And at the same time, I decided to go to therapy myself and kind of went through that parallel process of learning about myself and learning how to help other people, or like what that journey often looked like. And then I came out of that experience. I was like, hey, I want to be a therapist. I think I want to do this work. And that's how I got into therapy. And then how did I get to where I am today, where, I'm doing a podcast and I am, creating this business of continuing education. Honestly, I mean, I hit burnout a few years back in my work, and I had amassed all of these skills along the way, and I didn't want to leave those skills behind, but I didn't want to continue doing the same thing that I was doing in the therapy room every day. And so I thought, I'm kind of too old in my mind I didn't want to go back to school. I didn't want to change careers. I wanted to take my strengths and my skill set and the desire to continue to be in the therapy world and help our peers. Because I think you kind of get to this point in our work where you're the student, right? And then you go out and you become the practitioner, and then you kind of become, I use the word expert loosely because I don't think I'm a guru or an expert. I definitely am not the best therapist in the world. I'm the right therapist for the right people. But then you kind of get to a point with it where you're like, is this it? And I see a lot of my peers go back and get their PhD and become professors. I see a lot of them decide that they want to open their own private practice or a group practice. I see a lot of my other peers, maybe they don't want to get their PhD, but they decide to teach online. They want to pivot into consulting. They decide to become a coach. There's so many things that we can do with our skill set. I didn't want to give that skill set up because I feel it has blessed me and has gotten me to where I am in my career. So I just decided to pivot, and I had a little bit of shame and guilt around that because I felt really guilty at first about saying, I'm not really wanting to do therapy anymore. I'm really tired and I'm really burnt out. And for a lot of folks who aren't therapists, it's hard to like understand that. And I was trying to explain it to my husband not too long ago. He doesn't get it because he's not in the therapy room. He doesn't sit with folks who've experienced major trauma. He doesn't he doesn't hear those stories. And for a long time, I felt really guilty about saying, I'm kind of done, I'm kind of done. And I want my energy, because I think for me, it's about energy. And I know self-care, we always preach it, we talk about it. And I'm always curious about how to take better care of myself. But you get to a point where you're like, all the self-care in the world isn't going to remedy the fact that I think I'm ready to do something different. And so I felt shame about that and I felt guilty about that. But when I finally was like, you know what, there are other therapists out there who feel this way. And I started to connect with them and learn their stories. And we started to grow relationships and friendships. I was like, I'm not alone and there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just my journey. And I still want to help people. I still love the world of therapy. I don't want to leave it. I just want to do something different within it. So that's it in a nutshell.
And that's a big leap for a person who's used to being in the therapy office every day and being able to just, first off, just be real about this is where I want to go with the rest of my life. And then the second thing is having a vision to do instead of being a therapist in the therapy office. So I'm glad it is working out for you. I'm sure, because I see you all over the place. And of course we travel kind of in the same circles, but it's great to be able to see that you visualized it and it's coming true for sure. Yeah. So for you, burnout actually helped you in a roundabout way. When you think about it, burnout actually helped you to redefine who you are.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It did. And I want everybody to know, like, I still work, a full-time job, and I still see, I still see clients. However, I have a different energy about it now. My boundaries are better with the amount and the type of client that I will work with. I'm a lot better about knowing those things about myself. So it's not that I had this goal of like, I'm done, I'm leaving, I quit my job and I'm doing the podcast full time. It's not like that at all. It's going through the burnout and working on that and kind of saying, okay, well, for the long haul, if I really want to transition out of, face-to-face work or sitting with people, I have to have a plan for that. And I could really easily go into resentment that I'm like, oh, I'm still at my job, or I'm still doing this. But when I flipped it around and I said, you know what? If I can do these things on the pockets of my days that like really light me up, I have more joy and more energy for the work sitting with clients. So it's been a shift as well, a process shift for me, as well as an emotional shift. So I don't want people to think that because I think that's part of the journey. I think that's part of getting to where we want to be is our mindset around what we're currently doing and how does it impact the work that we want to do in the future. Because if I was resentful and angry that I was still doing what I was doing, and it's a great job. Like it is a fabulous job. I love what I do. I just had to go through what I went through to kind of have that, new perspective on it. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify for those watching.
Yeah, and I think I might have misunderstood too, because it seemed like since we'd talked last that you had made a leap into not working at your day job, as we call it, right? So
Right. Yeah, no, I'm still
yeah.
there. It's just I've changed, like things have changed for me there. First of all, it was my mindset that changed. And then second of all, COVID really really kind of like changed things up for us, and how we do our work. So it it's it's been wild. Last year's been wild.
Right. Well, and thinking about burnout, changing your mindset is maybe more of an accurate thing that happened to you. It wasn't that it influenced you jumping off in a leap of faith into a different career direction, but what it did was it influenced your mindset to change about your energy about your current situation, because you're doing other things that you think that in the long run will be more sustainable for you and your own emotional and mental health.
Yes, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, in fact, the burnout is a huge obstacle for anybody who's actually ever experienced it. It's pretty painful to be going through it, especially when you're in a position to where you're face to face with people every day and your energy is completely drained. And it's like your mind continues to wander. It's really super tough. And self-care is definitely the solution to burnout. But do we practice it? Sometimes we do. Sometimes we do it better. Sometimes we don't do it very good at all. So, well, it seems to me that you have pretty much, is there a dream that you haven't reached yet? And if there is, can we encourage you toward it? Or are you there?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. Because I feel as though, if I were to say right now in this moment, I am living the dream. I have what I want. I have a fulfillment in this moment right now, and that's all we have is this moment, the present, right? So yeah, I mean, I am like living. I am living my dream. I have a wonderful marriage. I have 2 healthy children, and I love the work I do. I have my health. I have my parents, their health. And so I honestly, we have what we need to pay our bills and to live the lifestyle that we want to live. So yeah, I mean, I am living the dream. Now, do I have goals? Sure. I have goals outside of that dream, or of the dream that I have right now. I'm in the present. But I believe they will happen. I will get to them if I just keep doing the things that I'm doing to get me there. It will happen.
Yeah, goals and dreams they're kind of the same, only different, right? I know my husband does not like that phrase. So this is something that hasn't happened to me on the show yet. And we've got somebody who's actually being a little bit, I don't know, what do you think about this comment as a therapist here, Lisa? You have to be really slow to
who gets no views. Oh, I don't know what to think about that, except, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know what that means. You have to be really slow to ban and censor people from this crap channel who get no views. Oh, so are you slow? Is that what he's saying? Is that you're slow?
So this
You.
is exactly what I would love to be able to do with people is we don't block any people. We haven't yet. And
Mhm.
we also don't delete any comments. But what I would encourage you to do, Lewis, is to try and figure out what it is you're really trying to say and express it in another way. And if
Mhm.
you can't manage to do that, then what we'll do is we'll time you out, and we'll figure out how to help you to do that. So that was really sort of my always my intention, but we've never run into this problem before on my channel. So it's actually surprising to see Lewis here. It's interesting. My husband had written me in a private chat that Lewis is trying to talk, and we have a cat named Louie,
Oh.
and whenever he is bad, like bad kitty, we call him Lewis. And so I was assuming he was talking about the cat. He was not talking about the cat. So yeah, we'll have Lewis. Okay, so we'll have him think about what he's going to say, and if he wants to come back, great. I appreciate that. I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen to this crap channel. So I don't consider it crap, but it's
Yeah.
something that I've tried to build and tried to make a positive place.
Yeah.
And I see a couple of my friends here, like Mary Weiss. She is an amazing woman and a good friend too. Okay, I didn't know if you had frozen up or what. So this is
Oh.
just the challenging the challenging live that I've never had before. My guest has had
Yeah.
challenges, and then we have our first person who's trying to cause some problems. So hopefully, Louie, you'll be back, and you'll just like maybe you could even be on here and tell us what you think. I would be happy to hear you, of course. Uh, so this is where I think I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break, and I'm going to show you guys a film. And this film was done. Now it's about 5 minutes long, and it's broken up into like 3 parts. So the first part is a commercial I tried to do when I had a dream about becoming a person who mentors therapists into private practice, provides them with information about the business side and the clinical side, and I was able to do these online trainings. So that was my dream. And so let's take a listen here, if you will, just to Tracy in 2018. And that I had this dream, and nobody has seen this. I think I might have put it on my personal YouTube channel, but this is where I was back then. So let's take a watch. I'm Tracy Canella, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor with a private practice at Lukagi Counseling and Consulting in Washington State. And I am so excited to tell you a bit about how I got to be where I am today and living my dream of being a healing professional in a successful private practice. Now, I bet you're wondering why you should listen to me, of all people, when I talk to you about being a successful healing professional in private practice. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, and then you can decide whether or not you want to listen, okay? Well, my dream started when I was 10 years old, and I used to love watching the Bob Newhart show on TV. He was successful, he made lots of money, he had all kinds of weird friends. It was wonderful, and I loved watching Bob Newhart. And I thought, how great would it be to help people and also have some really wacky, crazy, funny friends and family members. So I thought, if I could do that and make lots of money, count me in. I was so excited about my dream. I was only 10 years old, but I told everybody about it. I knew I would need a lot of extra schooling, but I didn't care. I love to learn, and nothing was going to stop me from living this dream. Well, as I grew older, I not only learned that college is expensive, but I also learned that our family was pretty poor. In fact, the only way I was going to get into college was if I went into the military and got the GI Bill, or somehow got a scholarship. Well, I considered my options, and the military. Yeah, I'm disciplined and I can get up early, but I have high maintenance hair and I really don't like taking orders. So that ruled that option out. Option 2, getting a scholarship. While it was true I had good grades, I didn't think that I had good enough grades to be able to get a scholarship. So I ruled out option 2. In fact, I ruled out my whole entire dream altogether. It was disappointing, but I refocused my energy into something that I could do, which was play music. I was in all kinds of bands and through my high school years. And as I got to be a junior and a senior in high school, I played the saxophone, flute, and clarinet. I was in jazz band, concert band, and I was in marching band, and I loved every bit of it. In fact, by the time I was a senior in high school, guess what? I was the lead alto player in our jazz band. That's pretty much the highest saxophone position you can get in a band. Pretty amazing, huh? So I bet you're wondering why I'm talking about music and I am now a healing professional. That seems way off the path, right? Well, I'm only telling you about it because that's where my path began. What happened next was just a crazy little twist that helped me to become a healing professional. In fact, there are all kinds of twists and turns that can happen in your life. You might be there right now at a place where maybe you've had to give up your dream, or you might be at a place in your life where it doesn't seem like you're on the right path. Well, if you're there, I'll just offer you some encouragement. I was able to make it work. You know how I did it? I stayed on a path of some sort. I didn't give up on any path. I just kept going. I remember Bob Newhart, and I remember the dream, and it was in the back of my mind. But just because I couldn't get to that dream didn't mean that I couldn't have fun on the way and learn a lot, because I did love to learn. And it really took a lot of time, but finally, after 20 years, yes, you heard it right, 20 years, I got my 4-year degree. And then went to grad school, got a degree in counseling psychology, and I was good to go. But where? Where do I go now? Oh my gosh. That was 2018 and I was so nervous, and my cat was a kitten and she crawled up on my lap and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awful. But now looking back at it, I'm just like, wow, that would have been so brave for me to just like put that out there to the world, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's a great video. So good.
Well, poverty was really definitely one of my biggest barriers to being able to get where I wanted to be in my life. And being really, I remember asking my mom, are we lower middle, upper middle? And she kind of looked at me and kind of considered for a minute and said, I think we're upper poverty. And I never was limited by that, though. We were always able to make things work and be resilient. And that's one of the reasons why I put that clip up there, is that I want people to know that their voice matters, and their talents and their gifts matter. And if they feel like they have obstacles in their way, then they can transcend those obstacles. And it just takes some encouragement from people like me and Lisa and other people. I see some encouraging people in the chat. And so here is just to make sure that we put this up here. Lewis is going to try again. Welcome back. Okay. I am the perfect example for chaos, which is so sweet. Thank you for saying that. Aww. Well, I don't know if I agree about the single or deceased and why you're coming after my husband, but I think we kind of understand a little bit more about what Lewis is saying. What do you think, Lisa?
I don't know. I'm still a little confused. This whole platform it's wonderful because you can get information out there. You can put a message out to the world, but then I think there's sometimes that people don't quite understand, or they misinterpret maybe whatever is presenting to them as it should be different.
Yeah.
They have different expectations for maybe what you should put out there. So, and that's okay. I just feel like we could be a little nicer about it. So yeah, it looks like he's gone.
It looks
So,
like, yeah, it
I
looks
don't
like
know.
he clarified what he wants. So that was my whole reasoning here is to be able to help people. And I know a lot of YouTube channels, they will actually delete comments, or they'll hide people, or they'll block people, time people out, whatever they'll do. And I always wanted to do it differently. So I appreciate Lewis coming up here and doing that, so that it would give me the opportunity to see if it works. So he's saying bye, but I don't know if he wants to say something else. I think he said quite a bit. So bye, Lewis, or Louis. And I really appreciated you at least trying to tune in. So when we think about obstacles on these paths that we're on, we can consider stuff like this really super painful, or we could just sort of keep going. And that's what I think the message was in that video is I just kept going on a path. I just kept going somewhere until finally I did get a bit of a break and was able to get going to college. So yeah. Well, so what do you think? What is the toughest?
I mean, Tracy, that's a long time.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I was just going to say 20 years is quite a bit of time. I mean, wow. Have you shared that part of your story, like what you did over those 20 years? I don't know if I know that.
Yeah, I tried to, but in the spite of, because of what's going on in my chat, I don't know that I'm vulnerable enough to show the second part of it, because the second part of it is where I kind of try and explain some stuff. The short answer is that for some reason they chose me to get a music scholarship. And since I got a music scholarship, I was able to go to my first 2 years of community college. And after that, it was difficult because I moved and got married and stuff. So it did take me over the course of 20 years to finally get a 4-year degree. Was doing some work in accounting and all that other stuff. So by the way, this is my other cat. This is Malia, and she's decided to join me today in the spirit of having obstacles.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Sometimes my kids, like when I'm recording an episode, my kids they are the obstacle, just like trying to schedule around their busy schedules and the noise in our house. And it's easy for me to get caught up in the, I should just not do this because I have too much going on, right? Like I have too many obstacles. And you guys have probably heard this so many times, like the saying, the obstacle is the way, that you have to go through the obstacle. That is where the growth lies. And so kind of coming up with like a way to do my work, see my clients, record my podcast, hang out with my family, be a good mom, all that stuff. That's probably been the biggest challenge or obstacle for me over COVID-19, with just like this newfound time on my hands, because things were shifting and moving around. But yet at the same time, my schedule was gone, and I got really resentful about that at times. And I know that a lot of therapists kind of went through a very similar, process. Not everybody had the same lifestyle as we do or the same challenges, but it's the obstacles are, while they're very challenging and they can throw you off, but just going through them is where the growth can happen. So I always see like an obstacle or a challenge. I'm like, all right, okay, we've got a new challenge here. This is great.
Yeah, like leaning into them. I interviewed Sarah Lipton. If
Yeah.
you haven't had a chance to meet her or interview her, she was really great when she came in, and she was just saying, lean into things, lean in. And so the
Yeah.
obstacles are going to teach you something, and that learning is going to be so valuable when you're doing your good stuff, when you're showing your good stuff, because you'll have already learned a
Yeah.
lesson from some things that you have gone through that are obstacles. I know that I was born to a couple of very young parents. I was the firstborn, and then was a very sensitive child. I was anxious, and I had a lot of what they called, my dad used to call me his little worry wart. So I had a lot of things. And then, another obstacle that I went through was I had an eating disorder when I was 16 years old too. So in the middle of everything, there was that.
Yeah.
And when I think about, just with all the gratitude I can, just think about my life today, whatever. There's a person in my chat who I really don't think it is Lewis. I'm looking at it, and I really don't think that this would be the Lewis that I know. In fact, I really don't believe. I think it's probably one of those clone accounts or troll accounts. Whatever it is, thinking about about how I'm going to go on with this show with an obstacle in my audience is really super tough for me right now. So I need a little encouragement.
Yeah. Well, here,
Right?
I would block him. Just block him. If he's not a real person and all he wants to do is hate, he's not worth the energy, and he's not worth the anxiety. Just block him.
That's
I don't think he's a real person anyway.
That's my first block.
Yeah.
I just did it at your
Yes.
at your urging.
She did it,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen. She did it. How do you feel
I did
now,
because
Tracy?
I feel pretty good, because as I was reading all of those comments, I just don't think it's him. I think it's somebody trying to impersonate him. So just an initiation into YouTube land, Lisa. That's what happens sometimes, is that people will clone accounts and they'll go on other people's channels trying to start up stuff. And I just never thought that
Really?
that would. Yeah. I never thought that would happen here. I didn't even think I was that important enough to do that too.
Okay, so that was actually a friend, like somebody that like a guy named with that name, and that you think that somebody cloned his account and came on, and that's wild.
Yeah, it's somebody that I've had a conflict with on another channel, or he had a conflict with me. But the more I looked at those chats, the more I knew that it wasn't. I don't think it's him. First off, I don't think he would waste his time with me. And secondly, it was way, way too mean to be even him. So I just want to say that, and I think that he's been cloned before as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, when I go live on Facebook, I've had some people I've had to block, and I don't feel any guilt about it. I'm just like,
well, I'm so glad you are here to help me through.
Yeah. We don't have to take everybody's stuff and try to turn it into our challenge. There's some people out there who are just going to be jerks and challenge us. And even as therapists, we can have all the best intentions in the world, but like, we still have feelings. And it's like, I don't want anybody talking nasty about you, Tracy, because I don't believe that that's in your husband. Like, we don't have, let's just like block him. He's not worth it. You've got too much good stuff to get out there that he is taking away your energy. Not good.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you were.
Mary's saying I'm right.
Oh, we've got to highlight that comment. Right. Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad that happened.
She's saying you've made it.
Well, I don't know. I don't feel very good blocking people, but then I guess that's boundaries, right?
Oh yeah, block them, sister. I block. That's all right. Okay, we gotta have them. Good. even on social media, gotta have them.
Yeah. So where do we want to go from here?
I think at one point said, but like, really?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I'm going to bring up my husband right here and see if he can make some sense out of this. Do you want to come up? Okay. I just feel bad for you because you got insulted.
He doesn't even have it right. He said that I was blocking his comments, and I didn't. The first 3 comments that he made, YouTube blocked automatically and held it for review. His first comment was, "You should ban yourself." His second one said, "And leave only Lisa here." And then he had another one that said, "Neither is Tracy." He doesn't even spell your name right when your name is correct in the description, Tracy. He wants to put it Tracey. And he'll call you Tracy if it's Louis. He calls you lady.
Yeah, he calls me crazy.
Crazy lady, something like that. So I removed some of the comments because they were, as he put it, stupid, but it didn't sound like him. So
yeah, I don't think it was him either. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that I was I love you, honey. I love you. I think you're great. And definitely didn't believe any of that stuff they were saying. And you're a lot more resilient than I am as far as this is really shaking me up. But I'm going through it, right? Because
you told me to let it go. You told me to let it go, so I let it go, and so
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Timmy the wrench. Thank you for being my faithful wrench and helping me out with this. And we don't even have Mark here to help you out with this today.
Oh yeah, his stuff. None of his stuff would have made it if Mark was here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, honey, and I'll put you back down into the trenches again.
Thanks.
Oh my goodness. Where do we go from here, Lisa? Well, let's see.
I don't know. Let's ask the chat. What do you guys? Is there anything you would like for us to cover?
Yeah. Like, how can we encourage you guys to do your do your good stuff, to share it with everybody? I've got Lizzie is saying something about, if accusations are true, then just apologize. If not, then it's their problem and not worth your energy. And being ignored hurts the most. So some kind, encouraging words from Lizzie. Thank you. And so then I guess we'll just kind of wait for them to talk about things. Now that Lewis is gone, I'm feeling a little bit better, sharing the second part of my video, if you're still interested in seeing it. Well, I'll go ahead and put it up there anyway, even though. Okay, so this is a lot. Okay, this is, again, in 2018, where I was thinking about doing these trainings, and I am really struggling here with the camera. I'm struggling with my cat, and I just thought I would show it because I want to encourage people through, to be able to, like, if this is somebody who could produce something like this, then and be able to still have the courage to go on YouTube and be called the crap channel, then that's something. So let's just look at this. And if it gets really, there's one point in time where I go into shock, and I might just cut it off at that point in time, depending on what it is. But this is good exposure, so here it is. Well, remember when I told you about my giving up my dream to have fun and play the saxophone? And also remember that I had given up my dream at that time to be a psychologist because my family was too poor to send me to college, and I didn't think I wanted to go into the military, and I didn't think I wanted to go and get a scholarship. I think I just lost my mojo. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was it. that was me going into shock right there on the camera. And somehow was able to be a person that a year later developed a podcast. And then just months after that, decided to go on video on YouTube. And, I think that that's really proof to anybody out there who's thinking about starting a channel with a positive direction or doing some really nice, good, encouraging things out there. I think it's good for you to see something like that. I don't know. What did you think? Oh, I think we may have lost Lisa again.
I think it's had a moment you froze up. Oh, can you hear me now? There we go.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I think it's great that you're able to show your moment. I don't know if I would show that. I do know that I have episodes of my show where it's very cringy for me to listen to, as my daughter, who's 12, says the word cringy. And I'm just like, should I take it down? It just kind of reminds me of, hey, I've been there too. And I can do this. Like, I'm just as scared as the next person, or I don't know. I have like girl moment. I think it's just realizes, and we all go through this, we all have our, we get fearful and we get stuck and we just get like scared. we freeze.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is very difficult to be putting anything out there into the world, because whenever you do, it can be met with some criticism or some censoring, or I don't know, whatever it might be. But I was aware, as I was staring there, I was like, I've lost my mojo. And then I was just like, I am in shock here. And when you are staring vacantly into one place, that is a really good indicator that you're in shock, and that you're in either fight, flight, or freeze. In my case was freezing. And the best way to get out of something like that is with awareness that you're in it. I know that when we were seeing those comments come up and we were trying to deal with them, I noticed myself going into the fight or flight, sort of like the more rapid heartbeat, but noticing how it feels in your body when you're freezing and when you're wanting to run away is definitely, people can move through their shock and through their lives. I think a lot of us may be in shock just going through our lives. So. Well, it doesn't look like anybody has any questions or comments. Is there anything that you would like to say, Lisa, as we're winding toward the hour mark here, about encouraging people to move toward the opportunities that life gives them? Any kind of words of encouragement that you have, just for anybody who might even be listening to the replay of this live stream? You've been such an awesome guest, and it's been great, because it's been a kind of a challenge to get through some of this stuff. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thanks for thinking of. I'm just honored. Thanks, Tracy.
Yeah. So working with what you have and dreaming of being secure and successful and just serving people is really kind of what I'm after here. One of the things I did find some validation in, and I did put a link to it in the description for this live show, is the, how I said I just kept going on a path. I kept going on the path. Well, Mel Robbins, who I really like listening to her stuff. She's great. She's very inspiring. Just a couple weeks ago came out with this quote in this YouTube video about, there's a bigger, better dream that's meant just for you. Just keep going. And I was thinking like, hey, I said that in 2018. And so now Mel is saying it in 2021. So I felt kind of validated. So yeah, so we've got Lizzie would like to pop up. I don't know, Lisa, if you can stay or not. I know that you were kind of under the time frame. I think 2:00 was your time frame, but you're welcome to stay. I'd love to have you. Lizzie wants to come up. I don't even know how to. Oh,
yeah. There's I think there's a delay on my. I have a few minutes. Yeah.
okay. Let's bring Lizzie up and
if there's a
see. Yeah, if you still have the link, Lizzie, you can come up. If not, I can post it in the chat. So, yeah, let's see if she shows up. She may have some questions or comments or whatever. But it certainly has been for a live show that was about transcending obstacles and the journey. It certainly has had its share of them. What with some of the technical stuff you're going through, and with the Lewis comments and in my video and all that other stuff. So, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm just waiting here for Lizzie and see if we can. And it looks like Lewis came back. Is that true, Timmy? Lewis came back after I banned him? Oh, I guess he's back. But with a different, see, this is what happens. This is such a lesson. Notice how the icon is a little different than the last one. I'd really like to know what this person's objective is when I think about it. Okay. Yeah, it's very interesting because the last icon was a different Lewis. Whoever this is, they really care about disrupting the show, and that's very touching to me. That I mean that much to you guys. I think that's the way I'm choosing. So Lizzie is here. I'm going to go ahead and add her to the stream. Welcome, Lizzie. We are here with Lisa Mustard. Hello.
Oh, hi there, Tracy, and hi, Lisa. I hope you didn't mind me popping on.
No, in fact, I'm wanting to know if you have a short. Do you have a short story that you could tell about how you have transcended some obstacles and gotten to a place in your life where you feel happy and content?
Well, as you know, I'm pretty happy. But before I say that, I wanted to say you do so well. I so admire you for coming across the challenges that you do in lots of ways, even the one you just had. And obviously it still affects you, but you get through it and you overcome it and you keep going on. And I really admire that, because that's really what you have to do in life. You can't just give up and say, and feel bad. And as I put in chat, when somebody like that comes along and starts giving you accusations and they're not true, then all you do is apologize if it is true. If it's not, then it's their issue. It's not yours. Mm-hmm. They've got the problem, and they're not worth your time, you know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was good that he disappeared, even though, as you say, he might be back. But
he or she, whatever it might be, yeah, right?
Yeah. So it's not worth even thinking about. They're really not worth thinking about. And the thing that I think hurts most people the most is to be ignored. You know, if you're ignored, then you don't mean anything. If somebody gets back at you and starts attacking you, then you're important, you know, and you kind of have control over them.
Well, if I would have truly ignored this person, I would have not blocked this person. So yeah. But I think it's interesting that this person cared enough to come back again under a different alt. I don't get it. I must be at fame and fortune level to be able to have this happen.
Yeah, I think I'm echoing. I don't know why. I've got nothing turned on. But so I'll try and be quick. But what I did want to say was we've chatted a little bit, and you know that I've been through some pretty challenging times, and this is not mentally, this is financially, basically. And managed, even through those times, managed to, be happy.
Yeah. How do you do that?
It's because I think I've often tried to figure out why I'm like that. And I do know why, but I think the thing is, ultimately, is that being happy doesn't come from what's around you or who's around you. It's how you feel about yourself inside. And this is where I am blessed because, and I was able to thank mum and dad because I think I was blessed with a life, which, I mean, we didn't have money and stuff, but I was never put down. I was never told there was not negativity in my life. And I was only ever encouraged, and I was not made to feel bad if I made a mistake. So I've gone through life that way. This is why being happy isn't about it is about how you cope, but for me it doesn't matter what I come across. I can see a funny side to it.
Well, you just described resilience, because if you don't have any, there's those vulnerability factors that you have if you are put down or discouraged, and then there's the resilience, those protective factors. It sounds like you had a lot of those when you were growing up.
Yeah, I think I've been through so much that other people probably couldn't even comprehend. And I mean, I did tell you some of the stuff, and there's such a funny side to it. But I mean, it was really challenging financially for different reasons.
Lizzie, you lived for a couple of years without power and water. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, and with two little kids.
Yeah. Well, by the time, no, it's been on and off for many years. In fact, way back, and this wasn't because of lack of work or effort. I've worked really hard, but self-employed, it's sporadic, so you can't budget, you can't do anything, and all you do is basically pay the most important bill, but that's at the expense of some of the others. So you get through that. And I do remember when they were very tiny, and we didn't have any water. I think the water got shut off. And I remember they were out. I lived in an Italian neighborhood, and the next door neighbor was watering their lawn. And I'd put a little bath bucket next to the fence to try and get some of the water in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like you have to go through all these things. And I mean, I've got 1,000 stories about it.
I know. That's a good one, because, I can appreciate that, because what we have are the free things, right? Even if it's somebody else's water that they're not using and we can capture in a bucket. Or I used to go to the bookstore, which is across the street from where I lived, in order to learn some stuff. And the library was my second home sometimes too. So these free things that we could get when you have financial challenges.
Yeah, and you have to really think. And around that same time, I didn't have the electric, and what was really funny, I had I was doing my business, which was I paint garage doors, front doors, cupboards to look like wood, and it's a unique business, it's a unique trade, difficult to market, and that's why I was having difficulty. But at this particular time, I was doing I think it was maybe a picture for the Toronto paper. And I suddenly realized, after I'd had a shower and washed my hair, because I think at that time I had water. It's hard to remember. It was on and off. And then I thought, oh my goodness, I've got to go for this photo. And my hair's wet and I can't dry it because I didn't have electric. And I tried Tam's Barbie, those little Barbie hair dryers. And in the end, I used the car. I got in the car and turned it on and got the fan going. So we got over that. And another interview I had on TV was I had a big crease down the front of my skirt, so what I did was put the iron onto the barbecue. I got the barbecue going, and then I got some of those heated wax rollers, put them in silver paper, and put them on the barbecue so that they heated up and I could have curls in my hair. And my daughter, she turned around to the neighbor and she says, "Oh, look," she says, "we're having a barbecue." And I thought, "Oh, poor thing,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, creativity is definitely part of that resilience.
It is.
I appreciate you coming on, Lizzie, and we're gonna end the stream. I don't know if Lisa, do you have anything to say about what Lizzie was sharing, especially since you have a couple of little kids too? Oh, she might have frozen up again. I don't know.
No,
but
I have to. Can you hear me now? No.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just a little delay, but we can hear you.
Well,
all right.
I have to run, so I'm going to say goodbye. But Lizzie, thank you so much for coming on. Okay.
Yeah, it was great having you guys here, and we're just going to go ahead and end the stream. If you guys, and again, just be able to share your good stuff with everybody and encourage everybody along. We don't need people like the fake Louis Leducs and other people who try and bring other people down. We need to try and encourage each other to do well in this world. And that's what I'm all about, you guys.
Yeah, and know that it's within yourself to do it. You can do it. If you look at yourself and everything you do you're proud of, then you'll be fine.
Oh, thank you, guys. All right, well, I'll go ahead and close this up now. And again, thank you so much for joining me today on Calming the Chaos.
Thank you for listening to Calming the Chaos. If the information in today's podcast was helpful, please consider subscribing and share it with your friends. You can find this podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. You can also go to my website at www.lokahicounseling.com for more resources for calming your mental and emotional chaos. This includes a CD I created that teaches you how to practice mindfulness in less than 10 minutes. So check it out. Thanks again for listening, and I look forward to sharing my next podcast episode with you. In the meantime, take care.